Trying to see about this lighting. I feel like the lighting is not good. Change the light on my ring light, see if that helps. Not really. Okay. Well, let's just roll with it. So I'm just gonna wait a second, see if anybody hops on. Thank y'all for forgiving my tardiness. I am definitely a run late type of person, so y'all should probably just know that about me off the bat. I tend to try to fit too much into a small amount of time. So, or I underestimate how long it's gonna take me to do something. So if it's not planned right up until the exact moment I'm supposed to be, doing something, if something goes wrong, and that throws off my timing, then of course, I'm late. Example, can't find your keys, or like in my case, the tripod kept falling over, so it wouldn't set up right. So here I am. But anyway, I made it. So, hey. Forgive me, I didn't introduce myself. Most of you that are already in the group know me, but for my new ladies, welcome. And my name is ashleyjenae. I am a master life coach, and my emphasis is on feminine lifestyle, dating, and relationships. So welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining my live. This is going to be just a little mini training talking about mothering energy and why that repels masculine men. So as you come in, please say hello so that I can greet you properly, and thank you for joining me. And if you are watching the replay, just hashtag replay, and I will go back in the comments and greet you after the fact. So without further ado, it looks like I have one viewer. So viewer, if you will, please comment and just say hello so that I can greet you. That would be fabulous. Thank you. I am just going to jump in and get started because I do have something to do in the next 45 minutes. So, and these can go a little long. I'm trying to keep it, not too long today. But what made me want to talk about this is I have a lot of people on my friends list, on my personal page, and I post thought-provoking things from time to time, or, statements, or kind of try to drive traffic to this group or also to my business page because I just have a lot more connections there naturally. And I've had the experience of running into a couple of women who I noticed were really deep in mothering energy. And I myself am a woman who I believe has definitely had to work to get out of masculine energy. Because I was a single mom, because I'm like, this go-getter. I was raised by a single mom who was raised by a single mom. They've all been married, but, primarily single for most of the time that they were raising their children. So I learned a lot of those behaviors because they were developed out of necessity to survive. But they tend to not get you the results you want in relationship. So I have learned I don't want to necessarily operate in that a majority of the time, that I want to find a more feminine energy-esque way of getting the things I want done. When I need to step into a more assertive type of energy, I can do that, but I can still do it in a feminine way. So back to what I was saying, back to the story. So I've run into a few women on my page who really embody that mothering energy. And I even run into it with my own mom now. I'm 33, and I have developed a new relationship with my mother as I've been an adult. And I often tell her that it's hard for me to enjoy myself around her because she's always mothering me. And at first she really didn't understand what I meant. Like, what do you mean I'm mothering you? And what I mean is, you're always telling me what to do. You're always trying to direct my activities or give unsolicited advice. You are just, nitpicky, tend to, order me around and not just let me flow. Like, she'll want to go on vacation with me, and I'm like, I can go on vacation with you, but it's definitely not the same as going with my girlfriends or even going with my fiance because you're mothering. And I've met women on my page who've done this. And the reason why this is so off-putting is, number one, no one likes to be told what to do. No one. Not even children. If you think back to, if you have kids or you've raised or been around children, even toddlers, they resist being told what to do. It's just kind of in our nature. We have this autonomous desire. And masculine men especially, the thing about mothering energy is there's different ways that it can show up, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but often mothering energy reminds a man of his mother. And if you think about how we feel about our moms, or anybody really, kind of bossing us around or telling us what to do or sticking their nose in our business or being critical of what we do, it's a turnoff. So that is one major reason why, if you happen to embody mothering energy, especially with a masculine man, it's going to be a turnoff. They see themselves as grown. They're like, I already have a mother. I don't need to be told what to do. I don't need to be prompted. I don't need to be nagged. I don't need to be questioned and critiqued and criticized. And all of that falls in under mothering energy. So one thing I want to tell you about mothering energy, I wrote some things down so that I could try to stay on some kind of agenda and not go too long today. But mothering energy, number one, is a manifestation of a masculine type of energy that is embodied in a feminine package, pretty much. So it's the feminine way of being masculine, basically. I know that can get confusing, especially if you're new to like masculine and feminine traits. Now keep in mind, a lot of people use, you're masculine, you're feminine as kind of like a put down or whatever. For me, it really is just an embodiment of certain energies and behaviors. So there are times where in order to get things done, or in order to be assertive, or in order to lead, teach, things like that, you're going to be in a masculine energy because that is what the task requires. Versus you're going to be in a feminine position, and there are men who find themselves in a feminine-esque type of energy simply because of the position they're in. And mothering energy requires you to kind of take charge, to assert, to control a situation, to guide, to prod, to control. And that is typically, when you're mothering your child, is for their safety and well-being. So it's appropriate in that type of scenario. It's appropriate when you're mothering your children. Where you can start to overstep is when you're mothering grown adults, and especially a man that you want to have a romantic connection with. That can be really depolarizing. And the reason why is because men want to feel like they are admired by you. They want to feel like your hero, the knight in shining armor. They want to feel like they're the best to you. That's why they want to hear that they're the best lover. They're the most handsome. They are, the most impressive to you. It matters to them what you think of them. And if you are constantly mothering, what you are subconsciously communicating to him is that you don't trust his decision making, you don't trust his capabilities, you don't think he can do it on his own, or if he does it, you don't think it's done right or good enough or as good as you could do it. And that's definitely not something you want to communicate to a man who you would like to be in more of a leadership type of position in your life. Now, there are women who don't want to be led by a man, and I can understand that too, because we're kind of coming from a society where we've been oppressed as women. We've been men's property. There's the patriarchy, there's all of that. And we're trying to break out of that. We're in a time where women are holding high positions. They're making their own money. They're millionaires. They're highly educated. They're, holding their own against men. But a lot of times there's still this desire, even within those high-powered, successful women, to be protected, to be seen as precious, to not have to fight our own battles on our own, to not have to provide our own protection, to not have to do certain things that we deem more manly, like fix plumbing or pave roads, build houses, things like that, that we just kind of consider more like men's work, and even if you don't want to depend on a man to do things for you, a lot of women will still find themselves depending on a man. They'll just be hiring that man. It won't be the man that they're in a relationship with. You're hiring the plumber. You're hiring the guy to fix the drywall. You're hiring, somebody to take care of something that you just kind of feel like is not really your forte, not really in your realm. And it's usually like a more strength focused type of task where you need strength, you need size, you need brawn, the things that women just tend to not naturally have because of how we're designed and how we're made. So mothering energy is the masculine presentation of feminine energy. So that's number one. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what type of women find themselves exhibiting this mothering energy. So if you are the type of woman who has found yourself taking care of everybody and you in some ways enjoy it, it might actually stress you out, but part of you kind of enjoys that. You enjoy being the go-to. You're the go-to in your family. So your family comes to you to figure situations out, to talk to so-and-so. Can you call so-and-so and make this happen? Can you fix this problem? That's kind of you. Hi, Michelle. I see Michelle's watching. I'm going to hit the wave button. Hi. You're naturally a nurturer. So if you are the type of woman who is just naturally very nurturing, very giving, you really lean toward those motherly types of qualities. That's just part of your personality. A lot of times women who find themselves mothering men had to grow up at a young age. So they were kind of mothering siblings. They might have even been mothering their parents because their parents maybe weren't responsible or they weren't around, or they had a lot of siblings and the parents couldn't get to them all. So they've had to grow up and sort of embody that grown woman mother energy very early on. So you're the type that's like a doer or a go-getter. You make things happen. You solve problems. You have it all together, for the most part. You can also tend to be controlling. And that's kind of the other side of the coin of being the doer, the go-getter, the one that makes things happen, is you tend to want to always be in the driver's seat. You tend to always be trying to achieve an outcome and make sure that it happens. And you're not one who is easily swayed to give up or easily going to just yield to, what others want to do or to give up on something that you're trying to accomplish. You tend to kind of press the gas and don't relent until, you get your desired outcome. You can also tend to have people-pleasing tendencies. So this would be the woman who as a child was praised for being pretty, for getting good grades, for being a great dancer, for being a great artist and drawing pretty pictures, whatever the case might be. You find yourself constantly going back for validation and being told you were a good girl, you did great. Oh, look what so-and-so did. Do the dance for, the rest of the family when they come over. So you're putting on a show. You're pleasing through doing. You kind of learn that is how you get that validation. That's how you get those affirmations. That's how you even learn to get love, is through doing. So you become a people pleaser and you really hate to let anybody down. You hate to say no. You also tend to have poor boundaries because of that. Because you're afraid, if I say no, if I pull back, if I decline, what is so-and-so going to think of me? Are they not going to like me anymore? Are they going to be mad at me? And if you don't have the tools or the emotional strength to handle someone being mad at you, someone kind of dismissing you or being angry with your decision, you will tend to avoid those situations, or you'll tend to just always say yes and give in to other people's will. And also, you might tend to be someone who has an insecure attachment style. So if you're not familiar with the attachment styles, I can post a graphic in the group. I think I might already have one there, but I'll post it just for the sake of you not having to scroll. But there's 4 attachment styles. 3 of them are insecure. So, there's your avoidant, your detached avoidant, I believe is one. I usually tend to work with the 3. So secure, avoidant, and anxious. So if you are an avoidant or an anxious attachment style, then you can take a test to determine which you are, or even just read the descriptions to kind of get an idea of what sounds the most like you in relationships. You might tend to mother men and maybe even people in relationships. And that's to try to get that security. That's to try to gain that stability that you don't feel because you're not securely attached, because you need to kind of control what's going on in your world for you to be okay. So Something else I want you all to consider is, were you raised by a woman who was very heavily embodied in that mothering energy? So was your mom, your grandma, your female caregivers, whoever you were raised around and kind of learned how to be from, was she like that? I know that my grandma is very much a caregiver, and she was my primary person who raised me. And she's very much a doer, a giver, a take care of everybody type of person. And as I've grown up, I've also noticed that she doesn't tend to do that for herself. And we know the pitfalls of that. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment, but that definitely doesn't work out good for us. It tends to serve the people that we're with in certain ways, that make them happy in the moment, but in the long run, it's not really good for us nor for them. So how you do one thing is how you often do everything. So if you find yourself like this in relationships, you're probably also like this at work. You're also probably like this with your friends and your family. If you look at one area of your life, you tend to kind of function in a similar way in all the areas of your life. So just think about that. Kind of reflect and see, are any of the things I mentioned things that you notice yourself doing, or does it sound like you? Does it sound like someone you know? Even if it's not you, this may help you better understand, another woman, or, if it's a friend of yours or they're on social media, point them in the direction of this group so they can watch this video and learn a little bit about what this energy is and how to kind of break out of it. Okay, so one thing that you want to consider too, when you're thinking about, how did I get like this? Why am I, so feeling like I have to control everything, like I have to be the boss, like I have to oversee and make sure that everything's good. Why can't I just kind of lean back and go with the flow? Is women that do this, I notice that they tend to thrive in relationships like this because they have control. And this kind of ties into what I talk about a lot in this group, and what ends up being the case with a lot of women I draw to me, is that they want men that can lead them. They want men that they feel comfortable submitting to. They want men who are strong leaders, who are capable, who they don't have to prompt to do everything, take care of. They don't have to be the go-to for everything. They can just kind of rest more in their feminine energy and receive, as opposed to doing all the time. What these women are subconsciously often doing is they are choosing men that put them in this position because they feel more powerful being the one that has it all together. They feel more powerful and comfortable being the one that makes more money, the one who is more mentally sound, more stable, more forward thinking, better able to handle business. They like to have the upper hand in that regard. And they are not attracted to men who can meet them at their same level, or who are at a level higher than them. And that's often because those men challenge them, and those men also set boundaries. And again, keep in mind, these are women that don't necessarily want to be led, even though they think they do. Because part of being led is being willing to give up control. It's being willing to sit back, and you have to have a desire and a willingness to trust who's leading you. It's kind of like riding in the back seat of a car. That's an act of submission. I'm trusting you to get me from point A to point B safely. I'm not driving. I don't have my hands on the wheel. I have no control over what's going on in this car. And there are a lot of women who, because of things that have happened to them in the past, because of things they've seen happen, or just some fears they haven't dealt with, they're not comfortable handing over control. And they know a man at their level or a level higher than them is not really going to just submit to their program. He's going to want to lead, and he's capable of leading, and she's not going to be able to call all the shots. And also, if you do meet a man like that and you still are running this programming of mothering, you're going to be bumping heads with that man. And the man is often going to lose some kind of attraction or interest for you, because that's turnoff. He doesn't want to be battling his woman for his position in the relationship, his position as the leader. And it also subconsciously, well, not even subconsciously, it, right out communicates that you don't trust him. He senses that, he knows that. You may not be as aware of it, but it is communicating that you don't trust him. And men who are masculine, who know what they bring to the table and know what they are looking for in a woman. They don't really want to fight you for that. If they sense that you are going to be someone who's difficult to lead, who's, always going to push back and not very agreeable, they're going to tend to pull back from that because they're looking for fun. They're looking for someone they enjoy being around. They enjoy that beauty and inspiration and ability to kind of explore their feeling side and their emotional side a bit with a woman. But when you are more masculinized, you're kind of hardened. It's work to be with you. There's constant, back and forth and pushing boundaries and, being corrected and just energy that's not very welcoming or becoming. And kind of going back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the live, I've run into women like that who they like to constantly challenge what I may post, and not in a way where they are, seeking understanding or asking for clarity. They're just flat out pushing back. No, I don't agree. This is that, blah, blah, blah. Correcting me. If I say, this is the energy of such and such, they'll comment saying, no, well, it's actually the energy of blah, blah, blah. Being critical, it's not attractive energy. It's not attractive to anyone. It's definitely repelling to me, and I'm a woman. I'm not even looking to these women as someone that I might be interested in, romantically. But I can only imagine if they embody that same energy with a man, which they likely do, how they can tend to feel emasculated, castrated, criticized. It can feel very much like teacher energy. And again, that's like a female authority figure, similar to a mother. And, you get to a point, especially as an adult, where you don't want to be bossed around. You may be open to learning from people, but you don't want to be criticized. You don't want to be pushed. You don't want to be constantly told you're wrong in various ways. And I'm also someone who doesn't like to argue. And I know there are a lot of men who they don't handle that well. They don't handle arguments with women well. We tend to go more emotional. We can get loud. Sometimes we can get a little rambunctious, and they don't usually respond very well to that. It kind of causes system overload and can cause them to kind of bolt or, ghost you or stay away from you because it feels like drama. Okay, so some pitfalls of being in the mothering energy, to kind of sum it up, are you can start to feel resentment. So you will feel resentful toward this man, that you have to handle everything, that you have to take care of everything, that he never steps up, that he never makes decisions or has ideas or can fix things, or, just, you can't ever just chill. You have to be, manning the wheel constantly. But the flip side is, a lot of times you're comfortable in that. And even if he was to give you the space to lean back, you probably wouldn't, because it's not a pattern of habit that you have been accustomed to. So a lot of times you may lean back, but then you'll also find yourself checking on him, or, questioning, or saying, oh, change this, tweak this, maybe you should do it like this, or giving suggestions. Like, you just cannot keep your nose out of it. You can't just lean back. You want that rest, but when the opportunity for rest is given to you, are you actually taking it? Or are you just aware that you need it, but you don't even know how to settle and lean back into it? Okay. Decreased polarity is another pitfall. So again, when you're more in that masculinized energy, if you're with a masculine man, it's like two, masculine energies bumping heads. Two alphas, no, it completely neutralizes attraction there, because we are attracted to our complement. So there's always going to be a more masculine and a feminine type of embodiment between two people in a relationship. And if you are in the masculine side, it pushes your man into the feminine side, because one party has to kind of submit to the other. Now, you may alternate at different times, and on some things you will, and that'll be normal for you and that'll work. I'm not saying that you have to always be in the feminine and the man has to always be in the masculine. I'm saying where, someone who's healthy and fully embodied in their masculine energy as a man, he's going to tend to prefer a woman who operates more in her feminine energy for the most part. And if you are in your masculine, you're pushing a man into his feminine, and if he's a masculinized man already, he's not going to want to kind of be in that place of having to submit and yield to you and your leadership constantly. It feels emasculating. It feels yuck. It feels like they're a child. It feels just bossy and like a turnoff. You know, I don't know how else to describe it, but I'm sure you all have felt that too. If you've ever been around a really masculinized woman and she was very just, you know, controlling the situation, it even feels different than a man, because when women embody a masculinized energy, it comes out differently than a man does. A man's anger looks different than a woman's anger. A man's being assertive looks different than a woman's being assertive. And just as society, the way that we are accustomed to receiving and experiencing things, certain things are a turnoff. And that's why we hear about, you know, women being ball busters, but you don't hear so much about men being like that, because there's just certain things we expect from men and certain things we expect from women. And when we don't get that, it can tend to just be a turnoff. Now, if you're not someone who cares about that, okay. But if you are, and you actually want a man to want to lean in and get closer to you, as opposed to, you know, you acting however you want and then just letting the chips fall where they may, you know, you kind of leave your results up to chance at that point. And again, you might end up attracting a man who's more feminized. And if that's not really what you want, then that relationship, you know, is bound to have problems, and you're not likely to be satisfied with that, because you really want, you know, more of a dominant masculine type of man. I have a viewer. Just want to say hi. Please comment as you're coming in so I can say hi to you. And something else you can do to try to actually, you know what? Let me change gears. I want to finish the pitfalls really quick. I jumped ahead of myself. So another thing that can happen is he's not motivated to step up when you are in the mothering energy. You literally are enabling him to remain handicapped in that way. So he will continue to lean on you. He will continue to be lazy. He will continue to be unmotivated. And at some point, you create a dynamic in your relationship where that is how things are. So the day you wake up and you decide you want things to be different and you want him to step up, he's going to kind of be like, well, where is this coming from? Because you've always done A, B, and C. It's always been this way. So in essence, you are kind of switching the style up on him. You are changing what it's been, because, you know, you're coming to the realization it's not satisfying for you. That's not how you want to be and how you want to operate. But there is going to be, you know, a little bit of a transition that's uncomfortable, because it's like you have a train going full speed this way, and then you're stopping the train and then wanting it to go this way. So there's going to be a time where, you know, you both have to adjust to what energy you're presenting, to the switch that you want to exist, where he's more in his masculine and you're more in your feminine. Also, so I talked about decreased attraction. So he'll likely feel less attracted to you, because again, men are happy when they can please women. And if you're constantly criticizing or trying to change, fix, critique, complain, guide, teach, whatever, your man, he doesn't feel as capable. Even if he doesn't say it, there's part of him that just doesn't feel as capable, doesn't feel like he can please you, doesn't feel like what he's doing is good enough. And there's just something about that kills attraction. I'm not saying that it goes completely away, but it's not, the fire is not burning as intensely as it would if he felt like he was just your boo, your ultimate. Okay? And same for you. You know, you tend to lose attraction for a man that you have to guide and lead and prod. You also tend to lose respect for men that you have to do that with, because you kind of feel like, you know, I'm mothering you, I'm taking care of you, you know, what do I really need you for? My life is harder, you know, it's like I have another child, you know, all of that type of energy. You don't tend to feel protected, because you're the one doing everything. Again, you're the mother, you're the adult in the situation, and it puts him more in the childlike position. So to wrap it up here, I wanted to go into what you can do. Okay, so I don't like to just highlight the problems. I like to give some solutions. And I think I'm actually going to go and do a masterclass on this. I have to formulate it and figure out how I'm going to format it and all that stuff, and then I'll post the info in the group if you're interested in taking that, I would love to teach and serve you and answer your questions, and we'll probably do it on Zoom so that I can see you and all of that. But I'm going to give you a few, solutions, a few things that you can do if this is you and you find yourself wanting to kind of step out of that and do something differently. So first thing I would advise you to do is to turn your attention inward. Your desire to help and heal and fix and be the go-to, that's been your identity. You have to be willing to embrace a new identity. You have to understand how this identity that you've had has been serving you and how it has been holding you back from what you desire as well. So knowing why you're doing it, but then also knowing why it might be beneficial for you to shift out of that and start doing some things differently. So turn that energy on yourself. A lot of us who are in this type of, mothering, go-getter, successful, make it happen type of woman, we're not really taking care of ourselves the way we should. So think about what you could be doing for yourself, for your home. Do you need to do some spring cleaning? Do you need to throw some things away? Is your health on point? Have you been to the doctor, the dentist, the OBGYN? Have you, are you taking care of your hair, your skin, your nails, your internal health, your supplements? Are you exercising? Are you eating clean? Are you doing the things that are optimal for you? Are you meditating? How's your spiritual life? All of that is stuff you can look at. And then also, of course, women tend to, women who are embodying this type of energy tend to lean toward business and school and things like that. I'm not against that because that's all like for self-betterment. It all betters your situation and your lifestyle. But I find that oftentimes those things are distractions from us being willing to sit with ourselves and really examine ourselves. So we jump into school, we jump into business, we jump into external things. And it's another thing that we're doing, that we're staying busy doing, that is preventing us from spending that time with self, from devoting and leaning more into our spiritual walk, from healing, from going to therapy and getting coaching and looking within and, trying to achieve some kind of internal balance, because there's not that external validation. There's not that degree. There's not that money coming in. There's not those accolades. It is completely, an internal benefit that you receive initially. And then it goes from the inside out. It ends up affecting your relationships positively. So let me just keep an eye on the time here. Okay, we're good. Another thing that you can do is ask if help is needed or desired first. So a lot of times when you're in the mothering energy, you are offering unsolicited advice and help. So one way you can start trying to rein that in is ask. Ask, do you need help with this? Ask, would you like me to help you with this? If you need anything from me, just let me know. That way you're letting the person know that you're available to assist if they need it, but that you are not going to impose yourself. You're not going to insert yourself in your opinion on them. Some advice I give for online is if you don't agree, if you don't jive with something, learn to master the art of continue scrolling. You really don't have to spend your time to try to correct or put somebody in their place or offer your opinion where it's not encouraged. Now, there are some posts that ask for opinions that elicit people's participation and feedback. And then there are some that are more teaching in nature, that are more like presenting facts or information. And you kind of want to read the room in those situations. Is this a discussion post where, lively debate and all of that is welcomed? Or is this, someone's platform or someone just sharing information? And what is my goal in saying this? Do I want them to know that I'm right and they're wrong? Do I just want them to know that they're wrong? Am I trying to embarrass him? Am I trying to check them? Am I trying to be right, and feel good about that, I put somebody on something? Ask yourself why you're doing that. What is your goal? What is your motive? What is gained by you putting that out there? Something else, I don't know if a lot of women do this, but I was going to just include it anyway. So like watching how you're talking to your man. So are you talking to him like a child? Are you questioning him a lot? Are you using baby talk? Are you talking to him like the man you want him to be? Or are you talking to him in a way that you see him? You might want to change how you see him. Even if he's not acting that way today, create a space so that he can occupy it. Create that king space. Start speaking to the king in him. Start interacting with the king in him. Don't keep him small. Don't keep him limited. Don't see him as someone that you need to mother. Okay? See him as a grown, capable adult who can make his own decisions, can solve his own problems, and that has a mouth and knows that you're smart and capable. And if he needs your assistance, he will ask. But start speaking to him the way that you would speak to a man you respect. The way that you would speak to a man who you feel like was smarter than you. Start doing that. And that's how you encourage him to step into that role, because he may not even have the space in the relationship with you to step into that, because you're kind of keeping him small by continuing to treat him like a child. Okay? And again, the last thing was, don't jump to solve his problems. So correcting, criticizing, coaching, nudging, nagging, all of that. Lean back off of that. Okay. Focus your energy inward. Take care of you. Take care of yourself. I'm sure there are so many areas of your life that need your attention. And bottom line is, when you're in mothering energy, often you need that energy that you're pouring out to other people that they probably don't even want, or that they are taking, but it's handicapping them. It's preventing them from becoming self-sufficient because you're doing it. Turn that energy inward. Your inner child probably needs your attention. Your inner little girl who may not have received the nurturing and attention and mothering that she needed as a child is still longing for that. That little girl is still inside you. So turn that attention inward and give more to yourself. Okay? And don't feel selfish about it. Don't feel like it's a bad thing. People may react a little bit negatively because you are, again, like I said, changing up the dynamics of the relationship. But it's beneficial for them. It's beneficial for you. You'll start filling your own cup instead of pouring when you're on empty. You know, it's like God's pouring into you and you got holes. So as soon as it's poured into you, it's going out to other people. Start holding on to some of that. Filling yourself. Fill yourself with love. Show yourself that you are worthy of your own time and attention and efforts. Get yourself together. Make sure that you're good, and communicate to your man and other people in your life that you trust them to be able to do the same. And that if they need you, you're here, but that you're going to focus your energy on you because you need that. Okay. And don't feel guilty. Like I said, that's the most, kind and loving thing that you can do for yourself, and that love you're showing yourself ends up benefiting the other people in your life too, because they get a better you. Okay, so if anyone has any questions about this, please let me know. I think I talked about, I'm going to do a masterclass, and then I have a group the group is so good, y'all. It has so many resources in there for diet, exercise, overall health, meditation, manifestation, dating and relationships, books, resources. It's just an all-encompassing group. And I shut it down because I was trying to get my job situation together. I used to have a job where I was commuting, and it was taking a lot of my time and energy, and I didn't have as much to give to the group. But now that I have a work from home job, my work-life balance is much better, and I want to reopen that group. So I'm going to start advertising that. It is a paid membership, but you're guaranteed classes from me. You're guaranteed access to me. So I would call it not quite as high touch as working with me one-on-one, but you still get a ton of support. You still get value. I'm still going to come into this group and do like these free mini trainings, but I'm going to do trainings more regularly in there, and they'll be more in depth, and there'll be Q&A. So keep an eye out for that. I love to support. I love to answer your questions. So feel free to hop in my DMs if you have any questions about how to work with me or about anything that I'm teaching here. And I'm more than happy to answer those for you. And I hope that this served you all today. I'm glad I was able to stay on time and not talk too much. But again, if you're watching this and you weren't able to catch it live, please post in the comments that you're watching the replay. Let me know your thoughts about what I've shared. Let me know if this resonates with you at all, or if this has been you, or if you're looking for more support around this. Please, like I said, feel free to DM me. I'm always available and responsive, and invite your friends to the group. I love the conversations we have in here. I think this is a really cool space that I intend to continue growing. And I'm happy that you're here. And like I said, bring a friend. And I love you all. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.